So, very good evening, one and all present here. Okay, so I welcome you all once again to this masterclass in DevOps and Cloud. Okay, so today this is the second series on our masterclass. So today I'll be discussing about the syllabus that is involved in the entire curriculum. I'll be explaining you the agenda for the rest of the classes, and also we will start with the GitHub today. Okay, so we will take our first version control system as a first topic, and we will start our DevOps journey. Okay, I hope you all are with me. Okay, together. So let us now begin. I will be sharing my screen. So if you have any queries, you can put your queries in the chat box or the comment section. Okay. So in the yesterday's class, we discussed about DevOps. Okay, what DevOps is basically, it is a culture that is followed in the company, which is there to facilitate the process between the developers and the operation team in order to remove the discrepancies, or in order to remove the friction that used to be produced during before 2024, before 2014 and earlier. Okay, so DevOps is now here to so that the process is streamlined smoothly. Okay, the process is automated, and also you get a services when compared to the people or industry who are not using. So coming to continuous development. So now let me talk about continuous development. Development and testing. Okay, so yesterday's class we had discussed about continuous development. Okay, so as I told you, there are many phases involved. It is continuous integration, continuous testing, continuous development, continuous deployment, and continuous monitoring. Okay, that is involved. So along with this, there is some subcategorization when it comes to continuous development also. Okay, once your product or once your application is completely deployed or hosted on the server, okay, it is also required to do some kind of management configuration. As I told yesterday, we were discussing about Ansible. Okay, I took this WhatsApp example where once in one from one system you can send the notification or update message to the several systems. Okay, so this is done using configuration management tool and also containerization of the application. Okay, this can be achieved using Docker and Kubernetes. Okay, when it comes to continuous management, configuration management tools, we make use of Ansible. Okay, so basically what this configuration management tool does, okay, it will establish and maintain application, okay, functional requirement and performance. Definitely, yes, it is used for the establishment and also maintenance of your application. Second thing is like you can deploy your script across many servers directly. Third is like scheduling updates. So basically, this Oracle and some IT companies whose primary deploy these updates on many servers. Okay, here they make use of this Ansible tool. Point is like maintain configuration consistency in all the servers. So it is used for the configuration management tool, maintaining the servers. Okay, then updating the servers on time, scheduling the servers on time. So for these types of tasks, configuration management tool such as Ansible is used. Okay, so in this complete entire journey of DevOps, we will be coming across with the Ansible also. So coming to containerization, okay, when it comes to containerization, we have Docker. Okay, containerization. Let me explain what exactly containerization is. Containerization is nothing but it is a tool. It is a set of tools which will maintain consistency across all the environment. Basically, what is like you are packing all your application in a container, and this container can be used to deploy in any kind of operating system. Okay, this is what containerization is. Second, when it comes to containerization, so you should make sure that the Docker is a famous tool which is used for containerization. Okay, third, with the help of scheduling updates on all the servers. Okay, so we will make use of Docker swarms also, okay, whose primary task is to do scheduling, where we can bring 3 4 containers, okay, we can these containers talk to each other using Docker Compose. So we'll be dealing with many tools in this entire job. So next we have maintenance, okay, definitely yes, we can use some other tools, okay, where we can maintain our containers. For example, like suppose you might see that during some kind of peak session or peak season, there will be inflow of huge traffic in the container or in the servers. So we need some tool which will be definitely useful when it comes to monitoring it. So continuous monitoring is also a part of DevOps. Okay, not just DevOps is about continuous integration and continuous deployment and delivery. It is also continuous monitoring. As I told you, okay, once you deploy your application on the server, it is not enough. Okay, you have to monitor it time to time. Okay, maintain it time to time. If you just deploy it and leave it, okay, your container might be vulnerable to some kind of attacks, okay, virus attack it may be, or else during, as I told you, during peak seasons and all, okay, whenever for example IPL match is there, or any kind of big billion days, or Amazon Great Festival, whatever the season comes, definitely your crowd is going to increase in your entire servers. So in order to monitor this, we have to use this continuous monitoring also. So as a package, as a whole, DevOps is about continuous integration, continuous deployment, and monitoring aspect is also involved. Okay, one second. Let me go to the other slide. Okay. Okay. So coming to evolution of DevOps, okay. So as I told you in yesterday's class, okay, it is not a new concept anymore. Okay, it had come during 2010s onwards. Okay, where first company was DevOps. First company was Facebook, who made use of DevOps, and from there the following people to gain importance. Okay, so when I talk about evolution of the software development life cycle, okay, so before, what used to happen during 19th and all, so IT companies or the service based companies, whoever used to develop the application, they used to make use of this traditional waterfall model. Okay, like traditional waterfall in the sense the development of the entire application is like in the waterfall model. It's like the directional, unidirectional. Okay, it cannot go back directional or bi-directional, because once the development phase is done, only then testing phase begins. Okay, once the testing phase is done, only then deployment. So this works in this fashion. Okay, waterfall methodology had lot of lacunas and lot. In order to overcome these limitations, agile methodology came into picture, where the entire software development life cycle works in the circular fashion. Okay, and there is a approach for iterative changes. Suppose imagine application, and tomorrow your client is not satisfied application, definitely yes, you can repeat this SDLC once again it will go under planning, then designing, development, testing, and deployment. So this cycle is run in the format of sprints. Okay, like in one sprint you develop some kind of changes, entire instead of developing entire application as a whole. Like in waterfall methodology, in agile, what you do, you take parts of it. Okay, suppose you have to develop a e-commerce website. So initially what you will take a part of it, for example login page, registration page, then you start developing, and so changes are iterative in nature. So one after the other, one after the other, you keep doing the changes. So third is the DevOps approach. Okay, so as I told you, DevOps is not a methodology. Okay, so I included this because I was talking about the evolution part here. So DevOps facilitated this agile development, agile methodology. Still, people in the companies make use of agile itself. Okay, DevOps is like it is a continuous approach. Okay, or the culture where basically it facilitates development of both the developers and the operation team. So first, okay, Facebook was the first company who made use of, who inculcated DevOps in their life cycle. This was the use case of it. So this is what it is, okay, all about. Okay, where you develop the application, continuous testing is there. So if there is a bug, again the rollback happens. Again, developer, it is sent to the developer. Developer commits the code. DevOps engineers build the pipeline, and they will automate the process. So once the code is committed, okay, definitely with the help of webhooks, the automatic are some kind of technical terms, okay, which might go above your now, okay, as we keep approaching these classes, okay, definitely yes, these things will become easier for you guys, okay. So this discussed in yesterday's class, okay. Plan, DevOps tools we discussed, okay. We have something called as Jira, Git, okay, Maven, JUnit is there, Gradle is, so many tools are there in DevOps, okay. So like how we are going to start our approach, because we have so far seen lot of theoretical stuff, okay. Now I have created a detailed syllabus or detailed agenda, like how we are going to begin with the DevOps journey, okay. First we will learn about source code management or version control system. So we will make use of GitHub, okay. So today we are going to start with the GitHub first, then we will make use of, we will see some kind of practicals on GitLab, okay. So how this CI/CD is built, okay. Big bucket, I'll give the introduction like how this big bucket works. Need not know all the three. If you just know GitHub, that is more than enough, okay. Coming to continuous integration and continuous deployment journey, here we will make use of Jenkins, okay. We are going to learn Jenkins, which is obviously an open source and much easier to use when compared to the DevOps other tools, okay. We will do one practicals on GitHub Actions as well, okay. So in the continuous integration, continuous deployment, obviously Jenkins is to deployment part. So we will see about Argo CD, okay. Argo CD is included in this masterclass, okay. We will see GitOps also. The GitOps is a tool basically used in Argo CD. Then SpineAker, okay. So this is a new tool used in DevOps. It is a multi-cloud continuous delivery, so we can make use of AWS, Azure, okay, GCP. Then fourth is the Artifactory management tool. So here we will make use of Docker Hub. Okay, Docker Hub is also a Artifactory management tool where we can host our .jar and war files. Okay, so whatever we build using Maven or Gradle and all those things. Okay, so we can host our complete continuous integrated file in these hubs. So JFrog is also there, okay, for image and other containerization of storage, okay. So there is something called as GitHub packages, okay. So we are gonna look into these all these kinds of things as well. So coming to infrastructure as a code, okay. So I talk about infrastructure as a code in the yesterday's session itself. I had discussed that this is basically useful to build your entire pipeline or automate your entire pipeline in the cloud providing softwares, okay. So here we will make use of Terraform. Terraform is basically an infrastructure as a tool, okay, as a code, okay, where we can automate the process of building the infrastructure on the code, on the cloud itself, okay. And of course, we will study about Ansible, as I told you, configuration management tool. So these are nothing but infrastructure as a code service. When it comes to logging and monitoring, we have some famous tools that is called as Prometheus. Prometheus is basically used in matrix calculation and alerting, okay. So we have something called as Grafana also. Grafana is used to visualize this matrix and logs, okay. Then when it comes to like AWS, we can make use of ELK, okay, Elasticsearch. Then Kibana is also there, okay. So in the monitoring part, we will be studying about Prometheus, Grafana, and ELK stack, okay. So most important thing, okay, you might be asking me like, why is not programming included? Is programming required for DevOps? Okay, this is the famous question asked across many. We get lot of queries regarding this question. Is programming required for DevOps? My answer is yes. Okay, so programming is required for DevOps, because DevOps, when I talk about it, is not just continuous integration, continuous delivery, and continuous monitoring. It is also automation of things, okay. So when I talk about automation, we only one thing that comes to our mind is Python and programming language, okay. So if you want to definitely excel in DevOps, and if you want to achieve a very high position, definitely you should know about programming and scripting, okay. So in this master class, we are also including this programming and scripting. First, we will make use of Python, okay. So when the automation and scripting begins, so there will be a dedicated session on Python as well, okay. Then definitely yes, when it comes to scripting, I have included this Linux and shell scripting also. We are going to study, we are going to use some kind of shell script and all those things. And definitely yes, when we talk about Python, okay, and automation, we will make use of this Boto 3 Python SDK. Okay, this library is used to connect your Python with the AWS, and we can automate many stuff there. Okay, so this we are also going to do some exercises on this part. Coming to shell script, as I told you, okay, we are going to study Linux as well. Okay, when I talk about Linux, we have to talk about shell scripting or bash scripting. And definitely, as if you want to set a cron job, or if you want to do some kind of automation in your servers, okay, which is basically hosted in Linux based platform, we have to study about shell scripting. So coming to cloud, definitely as entire process, we will be doing it on the AWS code. So make sure that you have a free tier account in the AWS before we start doing the actual practicals, because otherwise we're going to miss a lot of practical stuff. So first thing we are going to see in the entire use AWS EC2 instance. Okay, then we will study about AWS S3 buckets. Okay, this is also required. Now I'll just brief you about what are the services that we are going to learn. But in the coming days, definitely we are going to this as well. So we have something called as AWS RDS. So IAM users, okay, AWS is also the virtual private cloud. Okay, what all things a DevOps engineer require, we are going to learn all those things in the AWS cloud as well. So I think this part is concluded. Okay, so this is entire process that we are going to learn. Okay, from now today onwards, we will start with the first journey, that is GitHub. Okay, so today let us begin about GitHub. So I'll take it becomes easy for me to explain what GitHub exactly is. Okay, so first thing today, we are going to study about GitHub. Okay, basically, what is GitHub? Okay, whenever we think of any tools, or whenever we think of starting any kind of DevOps tool, first thing comes to our mind is what is exactly the tool is. Okay, today we are going to start about GitHub. Okay, GitHub is nothing but it is called as a version control system. Okay, so let me write what exactly it is. GitHub GitHub is simply a version control system. Okay, so what is this version system? So basically, okay, remember, okay, the word itself says its definition. So version is nothing but it maintains the logs of the previous file, or it tracks the file. Okay, basically version is like, you must be heard of version 1, version 2, version 3 and all. Basically what it does, it maintains the version of a copy of the code. Okay, imagine today I have written 10 lines of code, tomorrow I'll come and write 5 lines of code. So this tracking is done in the GitHub. Okay, I can see what is the amount of code I have written today. So that's why it is called as version, and I can control these versions also. That's why GitHub is famously called as a version control system. So let me break what GitHub exactly is. So Git is nothing but it is a command line tool. Okay, from where we can use GitHub commands, and we can pull, push, and to make lots of changes in the Git. And also we have something called as Hub is nothing but it is a central repository. Okay, where we are going to store our code. Okay, like we are going to push a code from the local system to the central server. Okay, GitHub is nothing but Hub is a central server which is used to host all the codes and repositories. We have something called as Git is nothing but it is a command line argument. Definitely using the commands, we can, we can send our files, we can push our files, we can pull our files. Okay, we do all sorts of practicals in this session. So now we must have understood what GitHub exactly is. Okay, simply GitHub is nothing but it is a version control system which maintains version in the distributed environment. Okay, so we will explore GitHub today. We will see how to create a new account, because I already have an account. Okay, you can just sign up and create your own account. And in today's session, we will first see how to push our code to the GitHub. Okay, let me show you the architecture of how GitHub exactly works. Okay, so let me start first. Okay, imagine this is a developer's A system. Let me write down developer A. Okay, this is the system of a developer A, and this is the system of a developer B. developer B. Okay, done. So imagine, okay, when I talk about a system, imagine this to be a laptop. Okay, so when I talk about laptop now, so when I install Git, right, these three things gets installed in my system automatically. Okay, 1 second. Okay, so when I do Git init, okay, there is a command. Okay, you okay, when I do Git init, right, this automatic partition happens. Okay, so this area, this is called as working area. Okay, so second one, so this is called as staging area. Okay, this is called as local repo. Is nothing but repository. Repository is nothing but it is a folder like structure. Okay, so same thing happens in other system also. Whenever you do Git init or whenever you install Git and initialize Git, okay, this is what you get. Okay, 1 second. Okay, this is called as working area. I'll just write the abbreviation of it. This is called as staging area. This is local repo. Okay, yeah. So whenever I have to build a project, okay, what I do, I create a folder first. Okay, and inside that folder I open a git bash. There in that folder, git bash here, when I type git in it now, there is something called as dot git file are created in the system, dot git. Okay, and dot git is responsible to maintain all these things. So basically imagine I have written 10 lines of code here. Okay, 10 lines of code I have written. Okay, so it may be in any programming language. So what is the next step I do? Okay, after writing 10 lines of code now, I'll push it to the staging area. Okay, so the command is git add. If I do git add, right, so automatically the file moves from the working area to the staging area. Okay, in this, so once the file moves from the working area to staging area, I can do git status and I can see. Okay, I can basically see what is the changes I have made. Okay, so next step, once it is present in the staging area, like it is ready to get committed. Okay, so what is the next command? Next command is nothing but git commit. Okay, git commit hyphen m and a message if I give. So the file, the 10 lines of code which is present in the staging area comes to the local repository. So now it is present in the local repository developer also. So he is writing 5 lines of staging area. Then after writing git commit, it will come to the repository. So what is the next step? So before going to the next step, okay, think that why this GitHub came into picture. Okay, before there was nothing called as GitHub. Okay, GitHub is like your Google Drive. Okay, it will store your code, or it will create tracks the changes of your code. Imagine what if there was no GitHub. Okay, what if you had developed an application, suddenly your hard disk got corrupted. Okay, entire system file is. So in order to minimize this kind of human error, okay, there is something called as GitHub that came into picture. Okay, once the file is present in the staging area, so now it is ready to go to the central repository. So this is nothing but GitHub. So your file is now ready to go to the GitHub. So when you type git push, right, okay, your file that is pushed into the central version control system. Okay, here it is pushed. He has written 10 lines of code now. Okay, imagine developers, as I told you, are working on a project. So what this guy will do now, he will pull this code in his local system by using git pull command. git pull. So git, he does git pull and he pulls all this command, all these lines in his local system. So now he will get 10 lines of code written by developer A. Upon that, he will do another, he will add another 5 lines of code and he will send it to the staging area. Then he will send it to the local repo. And from here, he will again push the code. Okay, basically he will push the, okay, basically he'll push the code. Again, it is stored in the central repository. Next, okay, developer A, sorry, first developer, he will pull the code, pull the code. Okay, so this push pull keeps happening unless until your entire project is developed. So this is an architecture of GitHub. Okay, so now let us do some practical part of it. So initially, what I will do. So I, okay. So if you open GitHub, definitely it will ask you to create an account. Okay, so you can go to this create account option, and from here you can share all your, fill all your credential. It will ask you to verify your account and your credential, and then a new repository comes into play. So what I'll be doing, so I, since I have a repository already, okay, GitHub account already. So first thing, once you create an account, this, so I can come here, so I can go to the repositories option. I can click on new. So basically I can name any repository. So this is how you can create a repository. Repository is nothing but it is a folder in the central, like in the GitHub. I'll give a name as learning GitHub. Okay, I'll keep it public file and I'll create an account. Okay, so GitHub creating account, pushing the code is really easy. Okay, you need not bother about anything. So once this account is created, I will close this. Okay, and I'll create a new folder here called as my first commit. Okay, so imagine this is my project folder. Okay, here I'll be writing all the codes, whatever it is. Okay, before doing this GitHub stuff, okay, everyone should have Git installed in their system. Okay, so just type git. Okay, you can go to this option, this github.com. Okay, and from here you can click on the button and you can install Git in your system. So once the Git is installed, you can open it using Git bash. Okay, or else what you can do, you can give a right click, show more option, you can just click on open git bash here. So this opens a terminal for you. Okay, this is basically a git. Okay, as I told, git is a terminal. Okay, where we are going to write commands and we will push our things into the central repo. Okay, so right now we have nothing here. So what I will do, okay, we go and make this folder has a git. Okay, so this git init, so when I do git init now, dot git file is created here. Okay, so you can see here dot git file is created. So if you cannot see, make sure like in the show panel hidden items is input, because generally this file is in the hidden format. So this folder is responsible to track all the changes that you do. Okay, now I will create a new file here, text document. Okay, one.txt. Okay, inside this one.txt I'll write a content. Okay, hello, this is my first GitHub class. Okay, and I will save it. So imagine that I have written one line of code here. Okay, now I'll go into the git bash. Okay, now I can do git add dot. So when I do this git add dot, now my, what happens is like the code that I've written in the working area. So this is basically a working area. Okay, it can be VS code, it can be any kind of, ideally. Okay, when I do git add, the code gets added into my staging area. Okay, so I can do git status and I can check. So it is showing me that it should be committed. Okay, imagine I'll do some changes again. first class, and I'll write good and I will save it. Okay. Now it will show me that you have done some changes. So you have modified one.txt. Still, it is in the working directory. You need to push it to the staging area. So I have to do git add dot. Okay. So if I do git status, now it will show me in the green. Okay. I'll just increase it. Okay. Now, so once I did git dot and I have added it in the staging area, now I have to send it in the commit. So the command is git commit. Just give new. So now it is, if I do git status now, you can see nothing. Okay, master, the working area is clean. Okay, you have nothing more to do. Okay. Now, is it enough? Okay, this I can directly push it. No, you have to do some other changes also. Okay, so first thing is like, by default, when you install git, it will be by defaultly taking into master branch. Okay, we will deal with the branching strategy in the coming lectures. Okay, now that you have to change this branch. Okay, so the command to change this branch is git branch hyphen m main. Okay, if I do, because repository that is hosted, it is in the main branch. Okay, so we need to change it to main. Okay, first thing, what is the second configuration? This is the local github. Okay, it does not go where to send my. Okay, I need to add the address of my server into this local thing. Okay, because it doesn't know where to send it. Okay, so to check it, what I have to type, git remote hyphen v. If I do, I see nothing, because git is a newly configured tool now, and I don't know where to send my file. So what you have to do, you have to give that address part into this file. Okay, into terminal. So what is the command is nothing but git add git remote add origin. If I do git remote add origin, copy this, okay, from the code, and I need to paste it here. Okay, 1 minute, let me do this changes on enter. Now if I do git remote, I have added the address. Okay, please go to this location. Okay, here my repository is present. So if I do git push now, you go to this location. So once this is done, what I have to do now, my file is ready to be sent to the central server. Okay, or GitHub. So what is the command? Hyphen u origin main. So I am getting an error. Okay, unable to push. Sometimes what happens, git doesn't know, you will not have permissions. Okay, so git has done some changes in their server. Okay, so you are not able to push. So what is the solution for it? You can use git fun f also. Okay, so again it is showing me an error. Okay, so let me fix this. So I can use ssh mirror. What you have to do, I'm not facing, and whatever error you're facing, let me find the solution for the same, so that we both can fix it properly. Okay, so what you can do, you can use ssh. Okay, you can ssh, copy it, and try with the ssh. Okay, git remote add origin. Okay, try this. So it is saying remote already exists. Okay, so what I will do, and I'll paste this. So what I have to do, I'm typing a command. Okay, git remote set URL origin. Okay, and here you need to mention your repository name. That is learning GitHub. Okay, and enter. So now I have added one more command. Okay, git remote set URL origin. Suppose imagine you have multiple GitHub account. and you are configured only with the one GitHub account, so you are for sure you're getting this error. Not get an error, it will ask you to validate, it will ask you to enter username and password, and you can definitely use git push, and you can add this folder. Okay, here you can also open this thing that is present. So instead of text, tomorrow you will have 10 lines of code. This is how developers write the code. So on tomorrow's practical, okay, I'll be using EC2 instance, and I will go to the second part of it where we will pull the code again. We will add some changes and we will push it. So you can see version control system. So tomorrow's class, we are going to do this practical. Okay. So please revise GitHub once again. And if you have any, okay, thanks for watching.